Welcome to the children's program from Leaside United Church and Rosedale United Church in Toronto. Today, we celebrate the second week of Advent, the week of peace. We have a fun craft to do today, and we're going to hear a story about Mary and the surprising news that she receives. You will need your Read, Wonder, Listen Bible if you have one. If you don't worry. We'll go through the story together. For today's craft, you are going to need the following: a dinner plate, scissors, a pencil, construction paper in different colors, an empty cereal box, and some tape. If you're watching live, this is the time to gather what you need. And if you're watching on YouTube, this is the time to pause the video and get the materials you'll need for our craft. Now, let's begin.
This is the second Sunday of Advent as we move towards Christmas. Last Sunday, we began our journey by lighting the candle of hope. What does hope feel like this year? Hope feels like the fluttering wings of a butterfly. This morning, we light the candle of hope once again.
We remember that the Christmas story was full of disruption and uncertainty.
Jesus was born in a barn full of animals. It must have been noisy.
We know Christmas is coming, but we do not always know how to find stillness and meaningfulness when the news and our lives are so loud.
Today we continue our Advent time by lighting our second candle, the candle of peace.
What does peace look like this year?
Peace looks like a dog or a cat taking a nap.
What does peace sound like this year?
Peace sounds like birds singing.
What does peace feel like this year?
Peace feels like a hug.
We light the candle of peace.
The signs for Advent, too, are peace, work, and life. So when you sign peace, first you move your hands like that and then palms down. Peace. And work, you make your S hands, work. Work. Kind of putting your wrists together, work. And life, make L hands, life, life. Peace, work, life.
The stories about Christmas are all about new life. Last week, we heard about Zechariah learning that his wife Elizabeth would have a baby. Zechariah and Elizabeth are so excited that she will be having a baby because they had been waiting a very long time. We hear that Elizabeth had a cousin named Mary. In today's story, we hear that Mary hears news of new life that she didn't expect either. In the beginning was the idea. The idea came from God and was part of God. Yet, it seemed to have a life of its own. The idea fluttered around the world, creating, inspiring, enlightening, awakening. It was in every place and time, but in one place and in one time, it came to rest. Not in a great city like Rome or Jerusalem, but in a tiny village called Nazareth. Mary had grown up in Nazareth. She knew everyone and they knew her. Now she was engaged to marry Joseph, a local carpenter. Mary imagined she would never leave. Her life would unfold in a familiar and predictable way. Mary was wrong. Mary was making bread when a strange visitor appeared. One moment she was kneading dough and daydreaming about her wedding. The next she was shocked to find that she was no longer alone. Someone was standing over her. His robes fluttered in the breeze. "Greetings, Mary," the visitor said. "Don't be afraid. God is with you. You are going to have a baby. You will name him Jesus, and he will have very special work to do. He will be a great man, a ruler in the line of King David. His kingdom will have no end." Mary could hardly think straight. A baby? How? When? Why me? What will the neighbors think? What will Joseph say? But all she could blurt out was, "How can this be? I'm not even married yet." "The God who breathes life into all things will breathe this new life into you," the visitor replied. Mary sure felt a lot of things when the visitor told her about her new baby. She was surprised, she was excited, she was scared. In what ways can surprises make you feel happy and excited? When can surprises also feel a bit scary? Maybe your surprise this year was a new friend, or a place where you saw a new life, like a garden or new birds. When have you seen new life somewhere and you didn't expect it? For today's craft, we are going to create a wreath with hands. And it's very simple, and it's an excellent decoration if you haven't put a wreath on your door yet. To start, we're taking our empty cereal box and we're opening it up. You'll need an adult to help cut it open for you. Then we use our dinner plate. Make sure dinner's not on it still. Turn it over. And now we have a circle to trace. We're going to take our pencil and trace it out and cut it out. And that'll be the main circle for our wreath. There we go. Now we're going to cut it out with scissors. There we go. Now we need to make a smaller circle in the middle of the wreath. If your plate is like mine, the bottom circle might just do the trick. But if not, a smaller plate or a large mug or a bowl can fit there nicely. We're going to plunk it on top, trace underneath, and now we have a circle that we can cut out. We're going to be very careful while cutting this out. And here's a trick. You fold it just a little bit, just enough to get a pair of scissors. And remember, if you're doing this at home, an adult is important. And just like that, we have our very own cardboard wreath ready to go. Now we're not going to put on any green leaves or anything. Oh no, we are doing something fancy. We are doing hands. Now I'm sure some of you have traced your hands before, but if you haven't, the trick is to get kind of loose just like that, and don't move this hand. This hand needs to stay perfectly still. And you take your pencil, you go up and down, and up and down, and up and down, and up and down. And while you can't see it perfectly on the camera, there's the outline of my hands. And I am going to cut those out with scissors. tape it on just like that. And then we have more hands going across all the way around to make a wreath of hands. I'm just going to tape mine down with a little bit of tape on the back. And some tape here to keep it all down. And then we'll go across and all the way around. Now, if you have at home special construction paper, there's this construction paper that's multicultural. They have different colors of different types of skin. And so when you put all of those colors together, they make one that's a little bit more realistic. I mean, not many people have purple hands or bright red hands like this one, but it shows that you can have different hands of different skin tones going all the way around. I also like the idea of getting all of our friends and family, see how many family members in your house you can borrow their hand and trace it out with a pencil. Just like that. Hand number 3. Speaking of hands, this is our handy dandy assistant Couscous, here to inspect our work. We did a good job. All right, I have all of my hands here traced and cut out in different colors, and we're going to tape them all along here in one circle to create our hand wreath. Let's go with maybe the yellow. While we're putting this together, I'm wondering if we can think of any other ways that we can make signs of peace, because this is a sign of peace. It's all of these hands holding everything together and working together. Could a sign of peace be something that we carry with us? When I think of signs of peace, I tend to think of things like maybe the peace sign. Maybe it's a song about peace. But there's also actions that we can do to talk about peace, right? We can talk about how we encourage people to not fight, to use their words, to understand other people. We can talk about ways that we keep the peace, learning how to keep peace within ourselves. I'm just going to tape this on the back. There. And just like that, our peace wreath is done. And it's all set to go up on our door as a sign of peace.
As we go, we pray that all people may know and have and experience peace in their lives. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week.